packages. So we have several packages, and we really want to make sure we understand when we do go forward with a reservation for more than one massage or one aesthetic treatment, and then when we convert everything to the payment system, I really want to go over that with you today.
Okay, all right. Well, we can actually start with that if you'd like, because that's going to be part of appointment bookings and things like that. Let me ask you this, Kim. Could you describe one of your packages to me?
Yes. So let's say it's a Zen package, so which includes one 60-minute massage and one facial with access to the bath. So everybody that takes a package is automatically, we have access to the bath.
Okay. All right. So the bath would have to be set up as a service, and essentially it's going to work like this. Now, obviously, I'm not using your data, so we may not have everything that you're looking for, but this is the way we would do it. We would go to setup, and then from setup, we would go to configuration. And from configuration, we would go to appointments. And from appointments, we would go to multi-book package setup. So again, that's setup, configuration, appointments, multi-book package setup. Now, of course, this means that you've already got your services in there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to type in a package name. So we can give it any name we want. I'm going to call this the Zen package. Now, you can have up to 4 different versions of the same package, but we're just going to create one version for now. And the reason that you may have different versions is because you may say, okay, we're going to put this in front of this, but in other times we'll have this one following this, things like that. So you can put the services in different orders. So my first service name then may be something like a 60-minute massage. So I might go with, let's go to my massages. And we'll go with a... say a Swedish 60. Okay, so I've got my service name in here, Swedish 60. It's 1 hour, and my price, my standard price, is $75. I can change this, or I can simply add this to the package. I can also change this price though. So, for instance, if I say, okay, look, if you buy the Zen package, you get about 10% off the whole price. Well, if that's the case, then I would want this to be $7.50 less. So I might make it for 60. What would that be? 68.50, I think, or maybe 67.50. Now I can't think of it. But let's say 67.5, and now I hit enter, and we drop that in. So after my Swedish, we're going to add a facial. So let's see. I should have some facials here, and we'll go with the European facial. That's also $75. So we'll make that $67.50. Whoops, I hit a 0. Remove that. Let's try that again. Whoops. Service. And we'll go with my European facial. Oops, got to choose my Zen package, which I didn't. I haven't finished yet. All right. Let's start this over. Setup, configuration, general, appointments. Put in our Zen package. Service name, first one is going to be the massage. And that's going to be my Swedish 60. And we're going to change that to 67.5. Add that. Next is going to be my facial. We'll say European facial. That is going to be $67.50 as well. Add that. There we go. And then I could have something else in there like a bath, which I know I don't have in the system, so I'm just going to fake it. I'm going to make it acrylic tips for the heck of it. Okay, and we'll just say that that's $40. And add. So my total price is $175. It would have been quite a bit more if this was full price, but I've reduced my prices here so that I can get a new total price for my package. Does that make sense?
Yes. I just have a quick question.
Go ahead.
Matt, concerning the versions, like let's say right now the Zen package, we can choose within any traditional massage, so we can have Swedish or Californian or shiatsu, and then we can choose within any of our aesthetic treatments where we would have 5 or 6 different choices. So that comes up to a lot more versions.
Yeah, that certainly does. Now you can create, Zen Package 1 with 4 different versions, Zen Package 2 with 4 different versions, Zen Package 3 with 4, if you wanted to do something like that. You could also put in, say, something more miscellaneous, like Massage 60, MISC, for miscellaneous or something like that. And you can change it after you have booked it as well. So you could either have them all individualized, which might be quite a few to look through, or you can just have a standard one that you change the actual services on once you know exactly what kind of massage they're going to get. But this is the traditional way to create a package. Okay. You give it a name, you assign the services to it in the order that you want the services to appear, and then you press accept. Now, by doing that, that package is now available in the appointment book. And we're going to go over the process of booking appointments during this training. But right now, what we want to do is actually book a package. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my multi-book. That's where you book your packages, multi-book. And that's because you're booking multiple services. Now, you can choose multi-service and start creating kind of like a package on the fly, up to 10 different services. Or you can choose from pre-made packages that you've already made. And I've got one here called the Zen package now. So under multi-service, I can choose pre-made packages like my Zen package. Now that I've got my Zen package selected, I can choose what day or dates the customer is interested in coming in. If it was, if you're interested in just coming in today, I can just leave it on the 31st. If I wanted to do it for sometime next week, I can go to November, and I could say maybe sometime from today to, so I'll click on October 1st to, let's say, the 8th to October 8th. So now I've got a lot of options that are going to come up. I've got a whole week's worth of options. And because I'm using sample data, that would give me an unbelievably long number of choices, because I'm looking for a whole week with an appointment book that's essentially wide open. So I don't want to really do that. So let's just go back to today. So I'm going to do this for today, October 31st, and now I get to choose what is the earliest the customer would want to come in. And I can break it down by morning, afternoon, or evening, or I can simply choose a time. So I might choose 10 a.m. Say that's the earliest the customer is interested in coming. So I've got my package, I've got my date that they're interested in, or dates, and I've selected my start time. That's the earliest that it's going to look for. Then I can hit go. And it's going to find every available option for me that fits in that package. Now, one of the really nice things about this also is that if you've got a really busy appointment book, it might only find you 1 or 2 options, a handful of options. My appointment book is wide open, as you can see, so I've got a whole bunch of options to choose from. But the really nice thing about this is you're able to say, hey, look, I need to find somebody who can do this service at this time, followed by somebody who can do this service right after, followed by somebody else who can do this service right after. And so that can be very difficult on a very busy appointment book. So by using this, just choosing the Zen package, choosing your date and time and hitting go, then it's going to find it for you, all of the people that can do it and the available times, as long as they're one after the other. If it has no available times, you may have to choose the day, because then you would simply tell your customer, hey, we can't do that package on this day. We don't have the available time for it. So for instance, if I find one that I like this one here that starts at 11 o'clock, and I hit show, so I just highlight one, hit show. So Christian is going to do the Swedish 60 at 11, Jessica is going to do the European facial at 12, and Maureen is going to do the acrylic fills at 1 o'clock. Does that work for the customer? If it does, I can go ahead and book it. So all I need to do now is choose my customer. And that little question mark there allows me to choose anybody from my database. So I'll go with somebody I don't normally use. We'll go with my Ebert here and book. If any rooms are required, it would have asked us for those rooms. If no rooms are required, or if they were automatically chosen, then it's just done. And that one is just done. I hit book and it booked. So let's take a look. There it is. There's my Ebert getting a Swedish 60 from Christian. She's getting a European facial from Jessica. And if Maureen was on this screen, then we would see that as well. And let's get Maureen on the screen so I can see up to 31 at a time. There's Maureen and there's my Ebert with her acrylic fills at 1 o'clock. So it booked all 3 appointments, finding people who could do them with the available time. And it has marked them with this particular color so that we know that they're all together and that they're part of a package. If I were to check this person out, watch what happens when I choose to check Bella out. I'm going to go to right click and I'm going to say check out. Bella Bella saw Debbie for a bang trim, $15, done. I'm going to clear that. I'm going to exit out of that. Now watch what happens when I choose to check out My. There you go. My saw Christian, she got a Zen package. She saw Jessica, she got a Zen package. And she saw Maureen, she got a Zen package. Now Maureen actually has a promotion on her right now. Anyone who gets a service with Maureen is getting an automatic 20% discount. And because Maureen's service was $40, they're getting $8 off. I can remove that, but that is a discount that's being given because I'm running a promotion right now. We can talk about promotions another time, but I'll just remove that item. This is the way it would normally look if you had no promotion running. So I've got my 3 services. These are part of the Zen package. They owe me $175. Did you see how that works?
I have a quick question.
Go ahead, please.
And it's great. I mean, we're all in awe here, but I just have a technical question concerning the billing. Like, will the client see somewhere that they purchased a Zen package?
Okay, that depends on what it is they're looking through. For instance, if they are looking through the app, then they would see on their app. First of all, they can choose in one way through the app to see what their future appointments are. So if they were looking for today, for instance, they would see that they have a Swedish 60, a European facial, and an acrylic fills with these people, and it would say Zen package. So they would know that they're getting a Zen package, just like you see here. And obviously, if they were looking not through the app, if they were looking through like online or something, they would just see their appointments that are booked for a particular day. They would see all 3 for this day, but that wouldn't necessarily say that it's the Zen package. The app does do that, however. Also in the app, they can see their past appointments. So a week from now, she could look in there and see what her past services were. And again, she would see that on this day, she got these 3 services from these 3 people and that it was part of a Zen package. Okay?
And on the bill, let's say once they walk in here and we check out the person and we print out the bill, will they see all 3 different items as we see on your screen?
Yes.
Okay. And is there a way without?
And when you say the bill, you're talking about the receipt, I'm assuming?
Yes, the receipt. Sorry. Yes.
That's okay. Yes, they will see that on the receipt.
And is there a way without having that price broken down, like saying the overall Zen package is worth $175?
Yeah, you could do that. You could have the regular prices, so it would say 75 and 75 and 45, but then your total would be 175, even though that doesn't actually work. You can do that by setting it up differently. When we go through the process of setup, configuration, appointments, multi-book package setup, and we choose the things that we're doing. Let's just grab something here. So I put in my service and I leave it as a regular price. So I've got my 3 regular prices in there. Then my total price I adjust. So the regular prices will still show, but my total price would be different. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Now another way to do it is you could create a discount coupon. So maybe this would give you your regular price, 75, 75, and 45, which would be $195. So this would say $195, and you could hit discounts. Well, I selected one of them, hit discounts, and then I could choose a promo like maybe my Zen package promo, and that takes perhaps I don't know what that comes out to, but let's say 25% off or 10% off, I guess would probably be more realistic, and then that 10% would apply itself, and then it would drop the price to whatever it turns the price into, let's say 175. So you can do it that way as well. There's different ways that you're going to be able to track those things then. So you could simply say, hey, I want to look at all of my services, or I want to look at, everything Christian did, or everything Jessica did, or everything Maureen did. Or you could say, I want to look at all of my Zen package coupons that were applied. And so if you did that, then it would simply tell you how many of those you used. So if you used 5 Zen package coupons today, you would know that you did 5 Zen packages today. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes,
Lots
it does.
of different ways for you to be able to report.
If we look into the report, we would see, let's say we sold 5 Zen packages today, and then if we go in the standalone service, for example, like the Swedish massage, we'll see we sold 10, but out of those 10, they're not,
those would not be broken out. That's right. Those 5 would not be broken out as part of the package. It would simply show that you did 10 Swedish 60s today, and 5 of them happen to be part of packages, but on that particular report, it would just show you how many total services you did.
Okay. Perfect.
All right.
And
so
if we
go ahead.
We go back just to the reservation. I mean, it's fantastic that we see all the different options, and that's something that our actual system lacks right now. But something that is very proper to us is that our staff members work, let's say, and they have priorities. So let's say I look at your schedule, Matthew and Maureen. Well, Matthew, we'll book Matthew before we book Maureen because he gives us more availabilities and he's been here for longer than Maureen has. Sure. Is there a way that the system will track this when they give us different options?
Well, it's not going to, it's not going to tell you who you need to book first. What you can do, of course, is put people in any order you want. So if you say, look, Jessica has the most seniority, so I'm going to put her first, and then you just make it a policy that, based on the order that they're in, that's how you book them first. So we're going to try to fill up Jessica before we fill up Anna, before we fill up Adrielle, et cetera. So you could certainly do that, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
The system will detect that the first Jessica, will book her first before booking Anna.
Well, I mean, you're going to be physically booking them, so that's going to be entirely up to you. Now, again, that's policy. That's just a policy on your end. Hey, I want the people who are listed first to be booked first. You can certainly do that. And based on what group you're in, everything is going to change. So if I choose, for instance, hair, then my whole screen changed because only my hair people are going to appear. Then I choose something like massage. Again, my screen changed because only my massage therapists. But each one of these screens can have people in different orders. You put them in the order you want them to be in. Now, the real benefit of putting them in a different order is when somebody is booking online, for instance, if they're booking themselves an appointment online, if they say they want to get a service from Abigail, sure, of course, it'll book with Abigail. But if they said they wanted to get a massage and they don't care who they see, so they get to choose an option of anybody, and if they choose that anybody option, it will always look for Debbie first. Then, if they don't have options for Debbie, they will look for Abigail. Then they will look through Anna. The point is that when you choose anybody, it always starts with the person that you selected first in that order. So but it does a round robin. So let's say that John Smith books himself an appointment and he chooses anybody. Then it'll book him with Debbie. Then Sally Smith goes in to book a massage and she chooses anybody. It will skip Debbie and move over to Abigail as the next choice so that everybody gets an opportunity to be first. But it will always start in the order that you've put them in.
Okay, so if we come back to the Zen package that we just booked, let's say we chose the option that you chose, and we come back to our reservation screen, so we could always move over like the massage that was given to Maureen, we can move it to Debbie.
Yes,
manually.
Absolutely. As long as Debbie provides the same service, then yes, I can just move this appointment right over to her if she's got the appointment time available.
Okay.
Absolutely. But remember, when it gave you all of your different options, you could have chosen one that had Debbie there. Also, though, when you're setting it up, if you're choosing a package that's pre-created, like I said, it's going to give you different options, and you'll see those options down here, and it'll have the names next to who's doing what. So you might say, she really wants to be with Debbie there. But I could have done this. So I choose my Zen package, and I hit Customize. So my Swedish is going to go with any operator. My European facial is going to go with any operator. My acrylic fills is going to go with any operator. But I say, no, I want my European facial, or let's say my massage. So I'm going to choose my massage, my Swedish 60. I only want that with Debbie. So now the Swedish 60 will be with Debbie, but the European facial would be with anybody, and the acrylic fills would be with anybody. So by doing that, it will only give me options where Debbie provides that service. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great. Yes. That's a perfect answer.
You can certainly customize it. Oh, good. All right.
Okay.
So let's go through the basics of booking an appointment. We did a package, which is a little bit more advanced, but let's talk about the basics now. The first thing we need to do is simply choose our customer. And so I have two different ways to choose a customer. I can left-click on this button to choose somebody that's in my database. Or I can right-click to add somebody brand new to my database. So if somebody's calling in to book themselves an appointment and they haven't visited me before, or they're not currently in my database for any reason, then I can add them new for the first time. Now they're going to be in my database and I can book the appointment for them. So let's go ahead and I'm going to create a brand new person here. And that person's name is going to be Kim Vincent. And I put in perhaps a telephone number. Let's just go with 212-555-9898. And now I've got a couple of options. I could hit add now, because the only information I need to have is a first and last name, nothing else. So I could hit add now and their name will appear here and I can book the appointment for them. Or I could hit more and take a lot more information. Maybe I've got an opportunity to chat with them. Who do they prefer to see when they come? What's their address, their occupation, their email, everything. So I can really put in a lot more information. Once I'm done, whether I hit add now or more, their name is going to appear here. There it is. So this is somebody who's brand new. Then I can choose my group, like massage. Then I can choose my service, like a Hot Stone 60. Now, my Hot Stone 60 is a little bit different. This is going to do what's called 3-tiered booking. And what do I mean by that? Well, with my Hot Stone 60, I'm not just booking a person. I'm booking a person, a room, and a piece of equipment. And that's why it's called 3-tiered booking. So let's do it. Kim Vincent is going to book with Anna at 12 o'clock. So I go to book that time, and it asks me, what room is this going to be done in? I'm going to say the Jasmine room. And what equipment is being used? I'm going to say the Black Stones. So now I've got Kim Vincent booked for a Hot Stone with Anna in the Jasmine room with the Black Stones, kind of like a game of Clue. So that's a 3-tiered booking. Now I'm going to show you a 2-tiered booking. I'm going to grab a brand new customer here. Let's go with Marnie here. And I'm going to go with a head 90. And I'm going to book that with Michelle at 2 o'clock. Choose my room. We'll say the herbal room and accept. And that's 2-tiered booking. Notice there was no equipment required. So Marnie was booked with a head 90 with Michelle, and she was booked in the herbal room. That's 2-tiered booking. Finally, we're going to do single-tiered booking. So I'm going to choose another customer here. We'll go with Trish, and I'll go with the service like a hair service. I don't know if you guys do hair, but we'll go with the blow dry and curl, and I'm going to book that with Leslie at 1 o'clock. No room, no equipment. That's single-tiered booking. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
All right, so now let's go through those steps. First, choose a customer. I don't care who, we choose a customer. After we've chosen our customer, we choose our group. After we choose our group, we choose our service. Now, what am I booking them with? Let's say Kathy at 12 o'clock. So under Kathy's column, I find the 12 o'clock row, and I left-click to block out the time. Now it's blocked out. Anywhere within that blockout, I can right-click to choose what type of customer she is. Did she say, I want to see Kathy? If so, that's a request. Did she say, I don't care who I see? That's a no type. Things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a request. That gives me this purple strip down the side. You'll get to know these little symbols so that you know exactly, just by looking at the screen, whether somebody was specifically requested. In this case, Kathy was requested by Carol, and we've got our blow dry and curl booked. Let's do that one more time. I'm going to choose a customer. I'm going to choose a service. Let's go with nails. I'm in a group. Choose a service like a French manicure and book that with Maureen at 11 o'clock under Maureen's name. Left click, right click, choose what type of customer she is, and the appointment is booked. That's how you book an appointment. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
All right. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to learn how to reschedule an appointment. Now, there's a couple of different ways to do it. There's the old-fashioned way, which you certainly are welcome to use, which is right-click on an appointment, choose reschedule, find the new time you want to book it for, let's say 2 o'clock, and drop it in by left-clicking. Boom, there it goes. Right-click, reschedule, 11 o'clock, left-click, and it's in. So like I said, that's the old-fashioned way, and you're welcome to use it. A lot of people are just more comfortable doing things like that. But another way is to check this box that says reschedule. And if I do that, it activates my drag and drop feature. So now I can take this where I want. Left click and hold it down, bring it to 12 o'clock and release. Left click, hold it down, bring it to 2 o'clock and release. And release. And release. So I can just dump it anywhere I want. That's what that checked. Make sense?
Yeah.
Now, let's say that Laura here says not that she can't make it at 11 o'clock. What other times does Maureen have available? But perhaps she can't come in today. And what times does Maureen have available this week? Well, the easiest way to do that then would be to go to Maureen and right-click in her box and choose Go to Week View. By doing that, I get to see Maureen's schedule from today plus the next 2 weeks. I could see, by the way, up to a full 31 days by using my little plus sign here. I can add days. So I can see up to 31 days on a single screen. Or with my minus, I can remove days. So once I've got what I want, reschedule, and now I can take this and move it to Friday, November 3rd, or move it to 12 o'clock on November 6th, or move it to 8 a.m. on Friday, November 10th, or bring it right back to 10 o'clock today, or 12 o'clock today. Easy? And right click and go to day. If I do that, I can right click on any one of these days and hit go to day, and it will take me to that actual day. So hit that, and there we are. We're back on our current date, Tuesday, October 31st. Okay? That's rescheduling an appointment. Now, what if I need to unbook an appointment? It's really simple. I just right-click, and I select unbook or unbook all this day. Now, people get afraid. They see those words, unbook all this day, and they think that if I hit that button, it's going to unbook every appointment I've got today. Oh, my goodness, no. Why would we do that? So let me explain the difference between the two. I've right-clicked on Kim Vincent here. If I hit unbook, it will unbook her one appointment. If I hit unbook all this day, it will also just unbook her one appointment because that's all she has. But if I went to my here and I selected unbook, it would only unbook her Swedish 60. It would not unbook her European facial or her acrylic fills. But if I went to unbook all this day, then it would unbook all of my Ebert's appointments. Her Swedish, her European, and her acrylic fills, but nobody else's appointments, just the appointments of the person that I've selected. Does that make sense?
Yes, I have a question, Matt.
Go right ahead, please.
Unbook one current day? Let's say we have a villa here where people stay overnight, and sometimes they take a massage on their first day and they take an aesthetic treatment on the next day. Can we unbook that client?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you simply right-click on them and select unbook or unbook all this day, it's only going to be for that current day. But I can right-click on their appointment, and I can go into their information. And when I go into their information, I've got a button here that says Show Appointments. All of their appointments will be listed, even if they're on different days. And I can select one and delete it, or I could select them all and delete them. So I can do that as well.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Okay, good. All right. So that's booking and unbooking and rescheduling appointments. Now, I was using a single service to unbook, but what if, to reschedule, but what if I was rescheduling a 2-tiered or a 3-tiered booking? Well, then when you're doing that, unbooking it or rescheduling it, you need to make sure that the rooms and the equipment are being handled as well. If you simply unbook it, you have nothing to worry about. It'll unbook the room and the equipment as well. But if you're rescheduling, watch what happens. I'm going to click on reschedule. Now this back facial requires a room if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to move this to 2 o'clock and release. But now look what it says. What room am I using? And the elixir room. And now it's booked. The important thing that you need to know about that is that that particular service that you rescheduled, you're not just rescheduling with the person, you're also possibly rescheduling rooms and equipment. But the good news is that if you are, it will ask you so that you can choose a new room or a new piece of equipment. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of times what happens is you'll move it from one place to another, and it'll say, hey, there's no room available for this, so you can't book it at this time. So then you got to move it somewhere else to find that particular room or equipment that you're using. And if you're saying, well, I need to see those, no problem. When you're in that group, you can see them like this. There's my rooms, there's my equipment, and of course, it starts with my people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me ask you another question regarding appointments. Do you offer couples massages? Two different people with two different staff members in the same room.
Well, yes and no. The answer is yes, two different staff, two different clients, but what we do is two different rooms, but they're open with a sliding door in the middle. So they're not in one same room.
Okay. Well, I mean, then you really don't have to do what I was about to tell you, because you're going to be booking separate rooms. What I was going to say, just very quickly, is that when you choose a person, remember it asked you what room. If that room is already taken, it can't ask you for that room because that room's already taken. So instead, you simply do it in reverse. By booking the room, it will ask you what person. So I could, for instance, book Michelle in the herbal room, but then if I booked Sarah, the herbal room wouldn't be an option. So I would be able to book the herbal room right on top of my other appointment, and then it would say, okay, who's the people? And Michelle wouldn't be an option, but Sarah would. So then I could have Michelle booked with Tom Smith and Sarah booked with Jane Smith, and both of them in the herbal room. But if you're doing what you just described, doesn't sound like you need to bother with that. You could simply book Michelle in the Jasmine room, book Sarah in the herbal room, and Michelle's with Tom Smith and Sarah's with Jane Smith, but they're in two separate rooms. The fact that you can open a door in between them, the software doesn't care. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Any other questions on the appointment book before we move to the point of sale?
Let me go over my notes. I don't
Sure.
think so. Will you go over like entering a staff member? Or
sure, if you'd like. Yeah, I mean, look, this time is yours, and I've got you until 9:30 my time, and it's 9:04. So if that's where you want to focus, that's fine. We're one-on-one here, and what I mean by that is this isn't a traditional class where we've got a bunch of different types of clients in.
Yes,
it's just me and your company right now. So we'll cover what you want to have covered, and we can schedule additional training as well. And training is always free during regular business hours, so we can certainly do that. So let's talk about adding a staff member then, if you'd like. If you've given us that information, remember that hopefully when you get your data in there, your staff members will already be in there. If you haven't given us that, then you're going to have to add them individually, and I'm going to teach you how to do that right now. So how to add a staff member. We go to the Setup button, and then from Setup, we go to Operator Files. Now, your software might say Therapist Files or Esthetician Files or Stylist Files or something like that. Those are different designators based on when your software was installed. It's not a big deal. But it's going to say something like Operator Files. So I'm going to click that button, and it brings up my Operator ID window. And so right now, I've got all of my staff members in there. I've got all of my rooms and all of my equipment. So if I needed to add a brand new staff member, once I'm in this window, and remember how we got there, Setup, Operator Files, now we're in the window, I can create a brand new staff member simply by typing their first name and hitting Enter. That's the first step. So in this field up top here, I type in just the first name. So I'm going to type in Kim and Enter. And when I do that, it brings me to my operator information window. So now I can choose a sex and a title. Now you might say, well, why am I bothering with the sex? I know, the gender of all of my staff members, and okay, that's fine. But the software doesn't. And people can have unisex names. They can have, different identity, whatever it may be. The software has no idea. So by choosing the sex, what you can do is this. One of the things in the software that it allows you to do is to put on what's called a gender preference for a client. So if a client says, look, you guys offer, I don't know, I'm just making it up here, something that people would really want a gender preference on. Let's say a Brazilian wax or a bikini wax. And so you've got a client that says, hey, I only want a woman doing my Brazilian wax. Well, you may have males in your waxing department. And so if that customer says, I only want a woman, then the software needs to be able to tell the difference. And that's why it's important that you choose the sex. Because then the software, if you tried to book it with a male and that customer had a gender preference, then it would say, hey, you can't book this with this person. They require a female. Okay, so now I'm going to put in the title. Let's say that Kim is a massage therapist. So I've got Kim, I've got massage therapist, and then I can put in a first and last name. Kim Smith, and this information, street address, start date, city, state, zip, etc., all of this is optional, and it's for your information purposes only. You do not need this information. But if you want to put it in, great. Then the email address, which I would highly recommend if the staff member has an email, you put it in there, because there's a lot of great things the software can do with their email address, like emailing them their schedule for the following day every night, like informing them every time that they have been booked, unbooked, or rescheduled, things like that. Contacting them and telling them these are the sales they got credit for that day, etc. The software can do that, but it can't do that unless it has their email address, and of course, unless you said that you want it to happen. So I'm going to put in an email address. I'll just use mine. And I can hit accept, or I can go to schedule. Now, importantly, right here are the days of the week that this person works. Right now, I'm saying they only work Monday through Saturday. But I'm going to say, no, they actually only work Monday through Thursday. They don't work Fridays or Saturdays or Sundays. So now I can accept that. Done. I've added
and if that information, Matt, if that information changes every month, because every month the therapist will give us their schedule for the following month. So, and it always changes. Sometimes they can work days, nights, weekends. So we do that through that profile. We go back there and we enter information.
That's exactly right. So I'll go back to the profile here, and I'll click on Kim now. There she is. I can go to her schedule. These are her hours, and I can change these hours at any time. So, for instance, I could say, okay, on Mondays, she works from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Tuesdays, she works from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. On Wednesdays, from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And on Thursdays, from 8:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. So now I've selected brand new hours. Notice the calendar below does not reflect them. And exit. Do you want to save these changes? Yes. If I go back into that schedule, you'll now notice the new hours. Now, if the only difference they need to make is a particular day, hey, you know what? I'm not going to be working on Thursday. Let's go to November here. I'm not going to be working on Thursday the 16th. I can go to the 16th and select off. So that one day they're not working, but that doesn't change their hours normally for Thursdays. So I can do individual days like that. I could also, however, change up here at, let's say, the first of the month or on the last day of the month. I could change the hours and exit, and those will be their new hours going forward. Now, what if it's a particular day, though? What if they normally don't work Fridays, but, you know, once every 3 or 4 months they do? I could then say, yes, they do work Fridays. Let's go back into Kim here and go to her schedule. Now, her Fridays are off, but at least they're an option for me. So she works Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. Fridays, she doesn't work. But then next month, she says, hey, I'm going to work Fridays this month. So now I can give her hours for Friday. Or I could have just chosen to set it off. This month, she's going to work Fridays, but not Thursdays. So I'm going to go here and set her Thursdays off and give her hours for Fridays, starting at 10 a.m. to, let's say, 6:30 p.m. So now what I've done is I've said, now her Thursdays are gone, but her Fridays are there. Now, if you knew, because the reason I'm showing it to you this way is because you said they give you their schedule. But if you knew what their schedule was going to be every month, but it does change. Let's just say that you said, okay, every other month she doesn't work Saturdays, or every other month she doesn't work Fridays, or something like that. Or her hours on Fridays are this whole month, but next month her hours will be different on Friday. As long as you knew it, you can actually create an alternate. So I could actually create a whole different set of alternate days that she works and times. And I can apply that to, say, every other week or every fourth week or something like that. But if I said, let's say, every other week, and I set that for until, I don't know, 2020, and I chose a completely different alternate time, then her standard schedule would be this, and then starting next week, it would be a different schedule. And then it would go back the week after that, and then it would go back to this the week after that, etc. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you can actually create alternate schedules as well. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. How precise can we go to, let's say, associate services to a staff member? So Kim, she will do Swedish and, you know, whatever, head massages and nails, but she can't do more than 4 massages in a row. Will that system go as far as that?
It will definitely allow you to say what specific massages she can perform. So she does these, she doesn't do those. Yes, you can do that. You put her in the massage group, but then you can limit the services that she actually performs. But also, but the other part that you said, it won't allow her to do more than 4 massages in a row. No, the software is not going to do that. It's going to let you book as many massages with her as you want. You know, that would simply have to be a policy where you say don't book her for more than 4 in a row, and then when you're looking at her appointment book, you'll see them, one listed right after the other, and if it's 4 massages in a row, then you don't book the 5th. But again, no, it's not going to do that for you automatically, where it says, hey, she's already got 4 massages in a row, you can't do this, no.
And is there a place, I saw biography, can we type in that information there?
Oh, sure, of course. You can put anything you want in here.
Okay, but is there, like, when you come back to the booking schedule, is there a way we can access that information, like, rapidly? Let's say we're on the phone with somebody, we see Maureen, we're not sure if she can do 4 or 5 or 2. Can we, I don't know, like, scroll over her name or click on her name to see what our
kind of. If you don't want to have to do this, you don't want to exit out of the appointment book, go to setup, go to operator files, choose Lachey, then go to her schedule or go to her groups or whatever it is. If you don't want to do that, then you can do this. You're in the appointment book, and you can right-click on Christian and go to Christian's information, and now you're already there. So you didn't have to, and you can go to his schedule or his groups that he works in, etc. Now, I want to show, or of course, you know, more importantly, let's just go to his info. There's his biography. So that information would be there.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, so you don't have to go through those other steps. You can certainly do that. All right. Any other questions before we move on?
No, we can go to the payment.
All right. Now, there's a couple of different ways to go to the payment. One of them is to right-click on the appointment and select Check Out. So there's Bella. She saw Debbie. She's got a bang trim ready to go. I'll clear that, exit, right-click on My, check out. It's all there. Go to payment, or let's clear this and exit. What if I'm not in there? I can go to my sales screen. If they already have an appointment for me, they're going to be listed here. So I could choose one of them, like My here, and it fills in for me. So I don't have to do it from the appointment book. Also, though, let's go ahead and choose Kim. She's only got this Hot Stone 60. What if she was upsold? So this is all she's got on her ticket. Now, if she was upsold and I added it to her appointment book, I can do that. So let's go ahead and clear this, and let's go back in here. And there's Kim Vincent, and I could book something else for her and stick it somewhere else. Then when I go to check out either one of these, it will pull up both of them on the ticket, just like the package did. That's one way to do it. But what if they didn't have the appointment booked? It's not a problem. We can add it to the ticket. So there's Kim. That was the appointment she had, but she was upsold something that we didn't add to the appointment book. No problem. I just go to Services. And I say while she was here, she also saw Debbie and got a bikini. And I could hit more and do more services, or hit last. So now she saw Anna for a Hot Stone 60, and she saw Debbie for a bikini. And I can just keep adding services if I wanted to the ticket. The next thing I want to do is add a gratuity. I can go to gratuity and put a dollar amount in for Debbie and accept it, and then go back to gratuity and put a dollar amount in for Anna and accept it. Or I could simply apply a percentage, and it will do the math for me and distribute it. So maybe 15%. So now Debbie's going to get $5.25 and Anna's going to get $9. So I've got my gratuities in there. Does that make sense? All
Yes,
right,
and
now, go ahead.
can we also add a product instead of a service?
Oh, goodness, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
In fact, that was the very next thing I was going to do in this ticket.
Okay,
So
sorry.
the person walks over, no, that's okay. The person walks over to, listen, just very quickly, I want to tell you, it's much more important that you get your questions answered than I go through a traditional training. So don't you worry about things like that. All right, so now, if I've got a barcode scanner, I can simply scan the product. If I don't have a barcode scanner, I can type in the SKU number. If I don't know what the SKU number is, and I don't have a barcode scanner, I can look a product up. So there's lots of different ways for me to find the product. Let's say I know the SKU number. I type in the SKU number and hit enter. It asks me who's getting the commission on this. I say Maureen. So Kim was sold by Maureen, the Justin All-in-One shampoo for $21. It puts in my local tax, and I'm ready to go. Or maybe not. Let me click on that and remove that item. Maybe I didn't know the SKU number, and I don't have a barcode scanner. So I press the retail button, and now I can look a product up. I can look it up by SKU or UPC or vendor, or I can pull up a manufacturer and go to the category and then look through all of my products under that category and manufacturer and choose the one I want. Or, probably the simplest way, I can just hit search and put in a string like Justin, enter, and find every product that has that word in it. Watch what happens when I put in shampoo. A whole lot more products appeared. So let's go back here and put in Justin. There's the product I want, and accept. Put in my quantity, choose who's going to make the commission, and if they got more than one product, I hit more and I find another product. Or I hit last, and there it is again. Kim Vincent was sold by Maureen, the Justin All-in-One shampoo, and I'm ready to go. So I've got two people with gratuities and a product. I could also sell gift certificates or memberships. I could sell series, or I can go to payment now. And I can accept their payment in a multitude of different forms. And by the way, you can split payments as well. So I could say she's going to give me maybe $100 in cash and then $32.19 on a credit card. You know, and I could do it as many times as I want. I could put $50 in cash, $32.19 on a credit card, another $50 on a gift certificate. I could do things like that as well. So how do I do this? I click on cash and say $100 and accept. And then I click on check, put in my check number, and put in the balance that she's putting on the check, or credit card. If I'm processing directly through the software, it's going to look like this. And when I click this button, it's going to ask me to stick the card into the chip reader. Great. I'm going to get my validation right here, and my authorization number is going to appear, and it's either going to email their receipt or print their receipt. Or if I'm not processing directly through the software, it's simply going to look like this. And I just choose what type of card they're giving me. That way, I have a record of this, even though I'm getting my authorization through a separate terminal outside of the software, because I'm not going with the built-in, which is fine. So I'll go ahead and accept that. And accept that. My receipt at this time would have printed. My drawer would have popped open if I'm using an electronic cash drawer. I can ask the client if they'd like to book their next appointment. If I say yes and book it, that will be a pre-book, or I could say no, and I'm done. Let's go into that client's information. So I'm going to go to Client Info and pull up Miss Vincent. There she is. And if I go to her history, I can see it. On October 31st, she saw Anna for a hot stone, she saw Debbie for a bikini, and Maureen sold her the Justin All-in-One shampoo. I could also highlight any one of these, because they're all part of the same transaction, and hit View Transaction. And it will show me everything that happened on it, including the fact that she paid $100 in cash and $32.19 on Visa. If there was a mistake made, I could even, when viewing that transaction, modify the transaction. I can go through different parts of the transaction and change things if I needed to. Maybe it wasn't a credit card, or maybe it wasn't a Visa that they used. Maybe it was a MasterCard, or maybe it wasn't a credit card at all. It was cash and a gift card. So I need to change that. Or maybe it wasn't Debbie that did the bikini. It was Deborah. I've got two different people in there. One goes by Debbie, one goes by Deborah, and I just chose the wrong one. So I can change that as well. So I can modify transactions. So once I have processed my sales, let's grab somebody else here. We'll go with Bella and just accept payment on that. Say she's going to do that with a credit card. Say MasterCard this time. Done and done. Let's check out one more. We'll go with my here. All of these things that she's getting, she's going to pay with cash, $50, and the balance on check. Say 123, check number, and accept, and accept. So I've got different methods of payment done. I've got people who have come and gone, etc. Hopefully, I clear everybody out before I close, but now it's time to close. So I go to register, and I go to close. Now, the first thing it's going to ask me is whether or not I've got my paid-ins and my paid-outs done. And you might say to yourself, well, what the heck is that? What are you talking about? Okay, let's say that I start my drawer every day with $50 cash in there, okay? And I brought in $300 today. That would be a total of $350 in my drawer. I said $300 in cash is what I meant. So now I've got $350 in my drawer. If the boss came up to me, and I'm the front desk guy, and the boss comes up to me and says, hey, give me $20 out of the drawer. I'm going to go get coffee. That's the boss. I pop the drawer. I take $20 out. I give it to him or her, and off she goes to get coffee. Well, when I close and I do my count, the system's going to say, you got $350 in here. And I'm going to say, I've only got $330. I'm short. I've got a problem. That's because I didn't do my paid out. If I went to register paid outs, I could say boss for coffee, $20, and post it. By doing that, it creates a transaction that knows that $20 has left the drawer. So now it's going to say, you got $330 in here, and when I do my count, it's $330. I'm good. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's a paid out. A paid in, a few days go by, the boss hands me $20 and says, hey, stick that in the drawer. I borrowed it last week to get coffee. Great. Well, the problem with that is I'm going to count, and there's going to be $370 in the drawer, and the drawer is going to tell me I've got $350. I'm over. I've got a problem again. You would have solved that with register paid ins. Boss repaid, $20. Post. A transaction has been made. Now it knows there's $370 in the drawer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so you go to close, register, close. It says, hey, did you do your paid ins and paid outs? And I don't have to worry about that. Either I did them or nothing like that happened today. So I can just go to continue. And now it says, how much money are you leaving in the drawer for tomorrow? And my answer is, in this case, $50. I can change it to anything I want and accept. So now it says, okay, today you brought in $150 in cash, $117 in checks, $32.19 in Visa, and $15 in MasterCard for a total of $314.19. But I actually have $50 more than that. Why? Because I started my day with $50. Okay? So this is right. This is fine. Even though I'm looking at my count, because remember, this is not your total count. This is your deposit. I started my day with 50, and I'm leaving 50 in there. So if I take $314.19 out, not necessarily all in cash, because some of it's going to be credit card, some of it's check, etc. But if I discount that much, there should be $50 cash left in the drawer and nothing else. And accept. So now I've got what I began with, everything I brought in, my total deposits for the day, and my expected total remaining. My overshort is fine. I started with 50. I'm ending with 50. My overshort is 0. My cash that I brought in today is 150. My checks, 117. My total credit cards, 4719. And traveler's checks or gift certificates that were used or on account payments that were used or series, all of that would be referenced here as sales receipts, money that came in, even if it wasn't actually money, even if it was trade, which would be under other, or if it was a series, or like I said, on account. They had a deposit with you before from days ago or weeks ago or months ago, and you took money off of what you owed them. All of that is going to be reflected in receipts. Then we have our deposits and our sales breakdown. This is different than sales receipts. For instance, I might have a number here that says gift certificates $100. And over here, it might say gift certificates $72. And what's the difference between them? Well, this is what was used in gift certificates today, and this is what was sold in gift certificates today. I sold $100 worth of gift certificates, so it would say $100. but $72 was used on previously sold gift certificates today, that would be $72. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why you might see things here that are duplicated here, but they have different numbers. You're like, that doesn't make any sense. Well, now you understand what the difference is. This is money brought in. These are the actual sales, basically the value. And if I hit accept, then I'm done. I've closed my drawer. If I hit print, it does the same thing. It closes my drawer just like you did accept, except it also prints this out as a report. And we'll go ahead and accept that. Are you sure? Yep. And I'm done. I'm closed. Now I'm going to open again tomorrow. At the end of the day, the software can email the boss or bosses that says, hey, here are today's closing numbers. Okay. And guys, for now anyway, because it's 9:30 Pacific time, that is the class. I want you to know a couple of things. First, if you'd like, we can schedule additional time. Also, though, I recorded this. I can either delete it now, or I can email you a link so that you can watch this very same class that you just took with my answers and your questions, etc., at any time. Or you can show it to other people, or you can just review it again. But if you would like, I can email you a copy of the class that you just attended.
Yes. That would be great.
What email would you like me to send that to?
To my personal email, so it'd be Kim.
Kim.
Kim at SpaBolton.com. SpaBolton.com.
Okay. And also, would you like to schedule additional training? There's a whole bunch of things we didn't get to.
Yes, I think we should. Right now, I don't have my calendar in front of me.
Would you? Okay, I'm going to send you that email with this link to this class.
Yes.
Would you like to respond to that with a good day and time? Also, I would recommend choosing a couple of days and times just in case I've already got something scheduled.
For sure, for sure.
All right. Well, then I'll get this out to you. You'll probably have that link to the video probably within the next hour.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Matt.
My pleasure. You guys have a wonderful day, and I look forward to our next training.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. You're welcome.